Hello and welcome to the latest Power Hour for EV Review Ireland. My name is Derek Riley, and I think I want to do these every couple of months. A month is my aim, but I realize that it's been December, just towards the end of December, for the last Power Hour. Before we start, as always, I want to get everybody settled in. If you are watching on either Facebook or on the YouTube channel, or via my LinkedIn profile page, can you just let me know in the comments if you're hearing everything correctly, if you're seeing everything correctly? I'd really appreciate it. And once we get all settled in, we've got a couple of things we want to talk about tonight, and stuff will come up on the comments, which we're happy to share. So make sure you jump in. So we've got people coming in telling me that they're there. Thank you very much on YouTube. So that's definite. Irish Runner, how are you? We have Electric Van Man. Good man, Paul. Good to see you. Hey, Derek, hope you're good. Thank you very much. We've got Brian Dowland. So a lot of YouTube comments coming in at the moment, which is great. If you are on LinkedIn or if you are coming in on Facebook, can you leave me a comment just so I can make sure that we are broadcasting loud and clear. As advertised, the topics that we're going to cover tonight, we're going to talk about the Chinese EVs that are coming into the market. Maybe some people don't realize that there are already a number of Chinese EVs coming in already, which is great. We've got Ray. Thank you very much, Ray. Sound and vision are fine. So we've got LinkedIn boxed off. Last but not least, now let me go on Facebook. How you own? Good to hear. All good here on LinkedIn. So excellent. 2 of the 3 platforms are streaming. I think Facebook is a funny one. You have to have signed in and you have to allow your name to be shown. So let's see what's going to happen there. We've got Pather coming through on LinkedIn as well. So sound is good. As I've been mentioning, we're going to talk about, in the description we said that we're going to chat about the Chinese EVs that are coming to the market, the ones that are already in the market. So if there is something else that you'd like us to talk about this evening, make sure that you do. We're going to talk about public charging. We're going to talk about some of the stuff I've done in the last nearly 3 months, 2.5 months on the channel. There's been a bit of traveling. There's been some exclusives. There's been 2-wheel reviews. There's been van reviews. Miss Electric Van Man Paul, I think I saw did I see a Transit E40 Transit review going up there recently on your channel? So yeah, there's lots of interest in the electric vans and that transition to electric vans. And in my day job with Nevo.ie, we're getting a lot of inquiries to our advisory service where people are asking that question. I've got a fleet of company cars or I've got a fleet of company vans and we want to make that transition over. So we're happy to help and advise on that as well. So we might talk about a bit of that later on and I might get Paul's insight into that as well. Yes, you did. Thanks for the shout. So if you haven't already subscribed to Electric Van Man's YouTube channel, he does exactly what he says in the tin. But like Ron Seal, he reviews electric vans and only electric vans. And Paul has got a great history and wealth of knowledge about vans in general. But like myself, he's niched himself down into the electric space. He does advisory services over in the UK as well. So if you haven't already reached out to him, if you're looking for something similar to what I'm doing in Ireland, make sure you reach out to Paul. So we've got EV Life Ireland. We've got Blake coming in. Howdy, catching the first few minutes before putting the kids to bed. It's not an ideal time, Blake. I am well aware of that. But YouTube and the algorithm tells me all of my viewers, or the majority of the viewers, are on at this time on a Tuesday evening. So I said, but definitely cover how the BYD stuff will fit into the Irish market and the competition. So yes, a big press announcement in the UK the last 2 days. We had the BYD launch. The Irish announcement has come out. It's going to be through MDL, Motor Distribution Limited, here in Dublin, and they're going to be distributing BYD in Ireland. There is a press launch, I believe, next month, and so you will see a lot more of the Irish stuff coming out, but the UK stuff has started to come out. 3 trim levels. Not easy for an Irish person to put all the 3s together and all the T's together. Who else have we got coming in here? We've got, from my Nordic friend. Hello there, hope all is well. A bit jealous that you're able to see the Fisker before me. Yes, we will be covering what I saw at the e-car expo in Stockholm. That Fisker video, if you haven't already watched it, it's my last video on the channel. It's 8,000 views in 2 days. It is absolutely rocketing up. A lot of people are really interested in it. So there he is, getting all embarrassed. He's known for being shy, Mr. Paul Kirby. Finton, good to see. BIK impact on small company owners with company EVs. Yeah, so in Ireland, we have something called benefit in kind. Potentially might be called something similar in the UK. It might be called salary sacrifice. And the government did a bit of a U-turn on it. So they've been flagging it in the budget the last couple of years to say, listen, at the start of 2023, it's going to be, depending on how polluting your company car is, you're going to be paying more benefit kind tax. People weren't really paying attention to it. There was a lot of stuff going on the last couple of years, in all fairness. But when their pay slip came out at the end of January, people were like, hold on a second here, there's a lot extra wages gone out of my usual. But that BIK, benefit in kind salary sacrifice. So the government has said, okay, we're going to take it back a step. We're going to leave it the way it was, or take the edge off it until the end of the year. But we will be bringing that benefit in kind situation in. And so, yeah, unfortunately, people can't get the electric cars that they're looking for at the moment. And so that's one thing. Now, people could have probably booked them in advance a couple of months ago or last year with the manufacturers, but they didn't as company car owners. So, and they may have been in a year lease or 3-year lease or a multi-year lease. So we definitely need to make sure that we understand that. So let's get stuck into, first of all, what I was doing on the channel the last 2.5 months, and then I can go through some of the topics that we said we're going to, and they're going to merge in together anyway. So I broadcast my last live at the end of December, and it was all the EVs that I thought were going to come, all these EVs that are in the market in 2023. So if you go back on my channel, you'll see that video and some of the stuff I thought may come. And it's interesting to look back now, as always. So here we are, EV Review Ireland on YouTube. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. And we're at nearly 12,000 subscribers and nearly 2 million views. So coming up on 3 years old this summer. So let me just go back to the video after the one I looked at, and it was the BMW i4 Coast to Coast with my dog Darwin. And then I did a number of weeks, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks, on living on public charging only. A lot of conference. We're going to have that topic matter later on in the show as well, as to public charging, whether you're in the UK, whether you're in Ireland, whether you're in Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland or England, having that and you might be talking to me from Norway. We have my Nordic friend here, so make sure that you're going to have a conversation about public charging and what's working well, what's not working well. It seems to be getting a bit under pressure here, and in the UK you have a lot more, but it's a bigger country as well. So I lived on the public charging, had a couple of stories there where things didn't work as well as they could have worked. Then I was lucky enough to go head out to Spain with Citroen and look at the EC4X, the extended edition with the big boot. I think it's about 150 millimeters longer, and the boot is like 500 liters. Paul will be excited now and happy with my Ford e-Transit review. I had a look at it in Barcelona last year, and then I back-to-back van reviews, did the Toyota Pro-A City, which is based on the Stellantis model, so for sure. Mercedes-Benz EQS, which was the coast-to-coast up and down the country. Not as good as Blake's and Paddy's over in AA Ireland's Malin to Mizenhead, but I did it last summer coast-to-coast. What have we got coming in the comments? Electric cars are going up in value and holding their value very well, for sure. 12-month-old cars are selling for the same price as new cars. Absolutely, that residual value, or that RV, in nearly everything except for the Teslas. We've had the price change as well in the last 3 months, and so that value obviously didn't hold, unfortunately. But yeah, the values for second-hand EVs are starting to definitely... people aren't willing to wait the 6 or 8 or 12 months, whatever it may be. So yeah, it's interesting to watch that marketplace. Then I was lucky enough to go to eCar Expo in Stockholm in Sweden, and it was just like walking into the future 12 months. Brands that we don't have, models that we don't have here in Ireland or the UK at the time. And I was lucky enough to have a look at the G9 and over 8,000 views of that. So that's their premium SUV with Xpeng. We're over in the UK at Volkswagen ID7. Halo ID from Volkswagen Group is going to have a big battery. You're going to be driving that in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to that. Then I was at the P7 in eCar Expo, and some people were seeing these videos thinking they were all in the same place. The Volkswagen one was actually in the United Kingdom. We have a super thanks, and a fairly big super thanks. Thank you very much, Liam. Thanks for all you do. I got my NG4 based on your recommendation, just waiting for it to be delivered. And you're too kind. Value of a tip. I really do appreciate it. It helps the channel and it helps the buying the equipment and running the show. And so, Liam, I thank you so much, and best of luck with your MG4. And if I can be of any help, you know where I am. Thank you. Jim is here. Do you see prices of new models coming down on the MG4 level this year? Probably not, Jim. I'd say with everything going on, they're definitely going to hold, if not go up, because they have a limited supply. They're selling out of everything they have, and usually when a brand has that issue, prices might go up. So if you haven't already got in, haven't already got bought, put your name down, got your deposit in, locked in that price. That price it could fluctuate. I can't see it going down, Jim. There is a lot of entrants coming into the marketplace for sure, and we're talking about all of the Chinese stuff that we've covered on the channel. For sure, it's something that I don't see going down. But thank you for the question. We had a look at the BYD. So I put out this BYD video, the 3 BYDs that I saw at the eCar Expo, the Han, the Tang, and the Atto 3. And the morning after, there was the announcement of the Irish distributor. So that's up at 5,000 views. It was a very quick walk around of the 3 models in Stockholm with my GoPro. I also had a look at the Ioniq 6 in Stockholm. So there's a lot of Stockholm videos. Thank you, first of all, for all the people that have tuned in. It's great to see so many of you tuned in so far tonight. I even got somebody who emailed me or messaged me on LinkedIn to say apologies they couldn't make the session tonight. So you never have to apologize, but I did appreciate it. I was lucky enough to be in the Maxus T90 EV electric pickup. There's an EV for everybody. The Jeep Avenger European Car of the Year. So I got to have a look at that. Looking forward to driving that. Hydrogen BMW iX5. I put these posts up about 2 weeks ago on the EV owners groups here in Ireland, and there are still people commenting on it back and over. I just wanted to drive it. It was a fuel cell electric vehicle. I did an interview with Monta, with Ricky Hill, the country manager for Monta, and some of you may have seen in the press last Thursday, my day job, Nevo and Monta, we've signed a partnership where we're working together on some stuff and some apartment complex charging. So my day job and my hobby are all coming together. Then on to 2 wheels. I was lucky enough to drive the Piaggio with Kieran and Nicole from Megabikes in Dublin, lent me the car or the moped for the weekend, scooter. Around 50cc equivalent on an AM license here in Ireland. And then my most recent video is the Ocean, Fisker Ocean. So lots going on the channel. If you haven't already subscribed, I presume so. I think Tesla action is quite destructive for the whole Arab position on 12. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes, I'll just leave that comment there. Jim, back again. Forgery manners, thanks. Forgery manners, thanks. Jim. Forgery manners, thanks. No idea what that means. Matthew. Matthew is also a member of the Irish EV Owners Association. I'm on the committee with Matthew as well, and Matthew is on the committee. And we had a meetup in the west of Ireland on Sunday. 2.5 hours for me to get there, 2.5 hours back. But I was driving the MG5, which is my car of the week this week, the refreshed version. Even Derek, I'm in the door for my first EV service ever. And Matthew has a Citroen E-Space Tourer. £126 for the lighter. 106 euros lighter, sorry, still good value. Lots of bits starting to come along with ESB charge points and hubs, but a pity we lost the high power charge point at the Galway at the last meetup. Yeah, so we selected this location because there was a 50 and a 150 there, and the 150 went offline that morning, which was far from ideal, but we managed as a community. We're all good. I think the Tesla price action is really destructive for residual values, really unhelpful and naive. Absolutely, yeah. For Flair to flex their price. I've heard that, did I see a rumor that Volkswagen ID3 may be coming down in price to kind of match it or to kind of residual value? Thank you very much. Mr. Mawson, good evening, mate. Thank you very much as always. Spell check changed it to Arab. I didn't know what you were talking about. I did like, not an ocean. Now, listen, nothing new there, Paul, is there? And so lots of stuff going on the channel. And as Blake was saying, we've had a number of Chinese announcements as to brands coming into Europe with my reviews of the Xpengs. They announced their prices in Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and Netherlands. Yes, those 4 countries. And for the P7 and the G9. And I see there on Martin Lee's EV, I heard on Martin Lee's EV News Daily podcast, which I'm a proud executive producer of. If you're into EVs and you want a podcast, he does a very good podcast show. And he was talking that the P7i, which is going to be their LiDAR version, is coming out in a couple of months in Asia and also in the United Kingdom. Sorry, in Europe. So I'm looking forward to test driving that as well. So Xpeng is very interesting. We had the Irish launch of the Aura Funky Cat, which was good as well. I had a look of it in in Birmingham last year. And so that review is already on the channel. And so we've got Aura in the market. We've got MG in the market. Volvo is already made in China, already in the market. Polestar is already made in the market. BMW iX3 made in China. And then we have BYD coming to the market. Other Asian cars that were at that eCar Expo in Stockholm that we haven't had yet in the UK or Ireland. iWays, there'll be a video coming out on that. I had a look at the Aura, the next one, the next Cash. I believe it's not going to be called a Cash. There's going to be some other name on it. Brian, good evening. What do I think of the facelift ID3? Will you be seeing it on your channel soon? Hopefully. Yeah, I like it. It's very subtle. It's a bit rounder, sorry, a bit sportier, but a bit sharper interior-wise, but you'd really want to be eagle-eyed to spot it, I think. What do you think, Brian? Come back to me in the comments. I like the green, which is the new color. So Matthew said, and to counteract Thomas, who's also a member of the Committee of the Irish EV Owners in his Model 3, Matthew used 56.76 kilowatt hour for 200 kilometers. So let's provide that back out. 28.38. That wasn't bad. It was division on the spot. 28, yeah, a lot. And Thomas got 497 for his 63. Yeah, so Thomas in his Model 3 drove from Wexford to Galway and then back again without having to charge. On the MG5, the facelifted version, I was getting around about 19 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Paul Kirby from the UK and my other UK listeners who were tuned in, I have no idea what that conversion is, because you do a kilowatt per mile or something like that, isn't it? You do a different conversion in that marketplace. Tesla price drop is great. Lots of people cancelling orders and going to Tesla. No, Irish runner. Yeah, a lot of people that were holding up for other things, potentially ID4, ID5, Skoda Enyaq, etc., were holding out. So happy to wait. And then Tesla went, well, we're dropping our Tesla Model 3 to 45,000 euros and Tesla Model Y to 47,500 euros. Serious value, like serious value. And Brian is back. Matthew Seeley, not bad for a brick. The Citroen E-Space Tourer. Matthew has 4 kids, so he needs all the ISOFIX that you can give him. So yeah, it is a van. A van. Paul Kirby back in now in a minute. I think the facelift ID3 actually looks more dated, like a gen. Oh, interesting. Right. You would think you would have preferred them to go a bit more. See, they've got the Cupra, and then you're going to have the Cupra Born. I assume at some stage they're going to bring out a Skoda Fabia kind of a size thing as well. So you're going to have a number of different brands in that hatch. And then I had the Urban Rebel on the channel in Terramar in Spain a couple of months back. That small one. I think there was an ID2 being announced at some stage. Is it today? Was it today? I was holding out to see the Ioniq 6. Yes, so Irish launch is going to be towards the end of this month. I just got an email on it today, but it's taking too long. So I have a Model 3 come. Oh, I think I saw that somewhere, Brian, that you were getting a Tesla Model 3. Congratulations. Coming from a Renault Zoe, if I'm not mistaken. A Renault Zoe that still has AC only, or did you have the CCS adapter? I think you only had AC, if I'm not mistaken. Lots of people on, and it's just a couple of people are commenting. So if you'd like to comment, jump into it. Make sure that you're not standing back. And there's lots of ways that you can support the channel. You can subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're following me on YouTube and LinkedIn. And then there's different ways of financially you can. So the super chats like we've had already, appreciate that. Or Patreon, there's a Patreon subscription monthly model there, or you can tip me on PayPal. So if you're interested in helping me out and helping grow the channel. Brian is back, an OG Renault Zoe with AC only. God, and poor old Brian, like ESB networks, and we will move on to public charging at 1:30. But let's continue our conversation on Chinese manufactured. And Brian, your Tesla Model 3, I assume, is going to be coming out of China because there's no right-hand drives out of Berlin yet. So that is another Chinese EV on the Irish market. Miles per kilowatt hour. And we do kilowatts per 100 kilometers. Totally opposite. But that's what you do. That's what you do. Mr. Mawson's back. Seen any of the Vietnam EVs? So we have VinFast. I haven't seen them yet. I don't think they're in the European market yet. I know that they launched in the US. And messing around with the pricing model, weren't they? Doing a subscription, and then they weren't doing a subscription, then they dropped their price. I think they have a really poor range, if I remember correctly, unfortunately. And they've shipped it again back to EV News Daily podcast, if I recall, 41 units. They look like a nice car. I know Dave Humphreys over on CompleteCar.ie, he did a review of one of them a while ago in Italy, because they were Italian designed. Pininfarina, I think it was, somebody that designed them like that. Whoop. Yeah, I have a whoop, and the band doesn't connect with my phone at the moment. Yes, rear-wheel drive Model 3 from Tesla Giga Shanghai. Is that the actual name? Yes, it is, actually. And then there's Tesla Giga Berlin. Were they changing that to Tesla Giga Germany and Tesla Giga China or something like that? But anyway. So yeah, lots of Chinese-made EVs, but also Chinese brands. So BYD is the next one. Genesis, there's talks of Genesis coming into the market at some stage. Which is the premium brand to Hyundai. We don't get that in Ireland at the moment. And then you have Highways, as I said, I don't think that's going to come from what I haven't heard anything. We've got some commercial, the Dongfeng stuff. Again, you've got it in Ireland, or you've got it in the UK, Paul, but we don't have it here yet. And you have Xpeng Neo. Neo wasn't at that eCar Expo in Stockholm, actually. You have Hongxi, which is the big massive SUV. I've got a video of that coming out. Thank you, Mark. If I take them up, I become Mr. EV Ireland. No, I'm joking. Roland to get a kick out of that if he's watching it. Thank you so much. Thomas, thought I'd mix things up and listen from the Aldi rather than listen in from. So are you in shopping at the moment, Thomas? In the headphones, hence the headphones emoji. So Thomas is currently in Aldi shopping. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to know. Thomas, what are the specials this week at Aldi? I haven't been in this week, so what is it this week? I think Pets was a couple of weeks ago, and skiing season is gone. Could be DIY this week. Fitness is already gone as well. So let us know what's coming in. You're very welcome, Mr. Mawson. Wasim from the Future Mobility Campus in Shannon. Mid-April, an EV company will be running a series of driving experience days in the Future Mobility Campus Ireland in Shannon. I can't disclose the details until they give us the green light. We'll keep you informed. Potentially wasn't supposed to mention that. Carl, I was getting around to it. Give me a chance now. Give me a chance. Carl Houghton, Maxis and a manager for Ireland. Had an amazing time last week with Maxis. And Wednesday, we left, myself and Sunday World, Derek Kenny, motoring journalist for the Sunday World, left Dublin in a Maxis T90 EV and drove to Galway into Ashford Castle, and the invitation was for 2 nights. But I could only wait 1 night because with work I had a meeting in Northern Ireland on the Friday morning. So on the Thursday, and if everybody can remember what Thursday looked like last week, it was Baltic. And they were lucky enough I was lucky enough that they gave me an E-Deliver 3 to head from Ashford Castle in Cong all the way to Belfast. So I had a couple of pit stops to charge in Carrick and Shannon and Dungannon, and got to the Crown Plaza Hotel in Belfast and was praying to the Lord that there was chargers there. And there were chargers there with the Weave charging network. So they had 2 22 kilowatt ACs. My van could only take 11, but they were being used at the time. And they have a 24 kilowatt DC charger, which is a lovely, I think it was a Delta unit. And so I was able to charge on the 24 kilowatt hour. So great to see that Weave network expanding, obviously in the north, but I think they are coming down south at some stage. So Maxis was very good, and another Chinese brand. So Maxis have the E-Deliver 3, E-Deliver 9. They're launching another van at the Commercial Vehicle Show. We have the T90 EV, and then they have the MIFA 9, which is that luxury people carrier. And I have a first review on the channel. I'm getting it for longer in a couple of weeks. And other Irish YouTubers will have content up soon as well. So hit the like, people. Mr. Mawson, ambassador, thank you very much. Make sure you hit the like. Appreciate it. And jumping into the comments. Good deal on plushy stars and giant jiggly babies. I hope you're still in Aldi. I have no idea, Thomas. Thank you so much. Very good. And so, yeah, Carl, I can't believe you thought I was going to mention Maxis. So, yeah, lots of Chinese brands. We've got the MG, obviously, BYD Atto 3, potentially with others coming in as well. So yeah, lots of good stuff. Are you in the comments? Jump in and let me know, what's your confidence level like in these Chinese brands? Are you happy with it? Some people are saying, you know what, I'll wait and see what the network is like. I'll wait to see what the residual values are like. But as I said, we already have the likes of Polestar. We have the likes of BMW iX3, the Teslas, other brands that are manufactured in China that are here selling. People might realize that they're coming from China. So I think the quality issue for a lot of those manufacturers is no longer a valid argument, number one. So make sure that, let me know in the comments if that's something you're thinking about. Glad you enjoyed it. I absolutely did. Very, very good. A great trip, and I just wished I was able to be there for the second day, but had to shoot up to Northern Ireland with work. Some stuff happening there in a good way. What are the safety ratings of all these Chinese cars getting? So great question, Irish runner. From what I've seen so far, and so the likes of the Aura, the likes of MG, the likes of obviously your Teslas, they're all getting 5-star NCAP. I haven't heard of anything getting lower, because they're all shouting about it. And I think when they're manufacturing them for the European market, as in a dedicated European model, they're very much thinking about that Euro NCAP, because a lot of people put a lot of weight into that crash rating. So yeah, 5 stars, what I'm seeing so far. So all good there. Sat in the MG4, very nice. Not as keen on the interior of the facelift MG5. So yeah, MG5 is an acquired taste. Obviously, it's a electric estate or station wagon or sporting brake tourer. Lots of different ways of saying it. Yeah, it's because it's based on that combustion engine. It is slightly, there is that transmission tunnel feel to it, and you are in your own little side, but the video's coming soon. Joe, if you're unfortunate not to have a home charger, it's now cost about 10% more per kilometre to drive an EV than a petrol or diesel auto, according to British road tests. So what we're finding is, a couple of months ago with Nevo, we did a couple of tests and we could see that the tipping point was around 70 cent. So anytime you're paying for electricity more than 70 cent at that time, with prices around about the 185, yeah, you were getting to the stage where it was price parity. And now with some of the EV charging networks, so we have Apple Green, we have ESB, we have Ionity, all floating around that 68 up to 75 cent. I know there's one EasyGo site in Kinnegad that's a bit more expensive at 79 cent. But yeah, so it's starting now. Joe, not having a home charger, you really need to start thinking about whether you can survive on that public charging network. And it's not always about the cost, it might be the environmental issues. I'd like to see the government doing something with regards to slow chargers, overnight chargers. My locality, there isn't a way for you to charge if you don't live in if you live in a terraced apartment, a terraced house. There's no public slow chargers that you can actually use. So, or very few of them on the ESB network. So again, with work with Nevo, we're looking at this as to this overnight, very slow rate, very cheap price, and that's what people, if they're not able to have a charger at their property or they live in an apartment, they shouldn't be penalized for having to use the public network. So there has to be a way of working that out. And I talked about that before, not the last, but the one before that public charging power hour, where really there needs to be a way of discounting for people that can prove that they don't have a home charger. So yeah, thank you very much, Joe. MG popular with taxi drivers for a few years, for sure. The ZS and the MG5, absolutely. Really good residuals, really good warranties. Yeah, can't argue with it. The Chinese cars seriously look well and sounds like price that will definitely make an impact on converting people to first-time EVs, for sure. And the second-hand market then, we're going to have cars rolling out of that lease window, PCP window, people changing them after a couple of years, and they're going to be getting cheaper and cheaper into that second-hand market, for sure. Thank you, Ray. BYD UK announced today an MOU with Octopus Energy for 5,000 vehicles over the next 3 years. So coincidence for sure. Like, I saw that coming up on LinkedIn this morning. So it's amazing to see that partnerships like Octopus have no allegiance to any of the OEMs, the traditional OEMs. And obviously there's big meetings going on today in Volkswagen, in Wolfsburg, with the Volkswagen Group annual general meeting or annual general members meeting. So yeah, like there's these brands coming into the marketplace are going to shake things up, and Octopus, which is an electricity provider in the UK, are looking to jump on that bandwagon. And so they do a leasing offering or car hire offering, I'm pretty sure. Octopus, yeah, excuse me. I think the MG4 is still a good, cheap car. Yeah, I like to say it's affordable. I don't like to use the word cheap, Mr. Molson, but I appreciate, I know what you're saying. People are sometimes, when they hear the word cheap, they think it's not, the quality isn't there. And I think the MG4 has good quality, but yeah, I think it's good value. And we've got the Aura, and we've got Volkswagen e-up coming to the Irish market, which is coming in at around about 29,000 euros. Yes, I keep telling people you'd need to be spending over 75p per kilowatt hour to be on par with 7. Yeah, so it is in the UK, it's around about that. In Ireland, we had a bit more of an energy spike, although I think in the UK, you had a fairly much an energy spike as well. Energy prices haven't come back down as quickly as the price of gas, which they were linked to, but energy providers are telling us that they're locked into wholesale prices. Excuse me. Paul, gotta go, my friend. Happy with the Chinese brands. They have a lot of history doing it in China, so worth testing. TTFN. That's it for now. TTFN. Somebody let me know what TTFN. Anyway. I'll be back going for, yes, very good. On my second MG, they upgraded the MG 73.6 battery. Is a nice small family car. Have it since July now, and the app has excellent functionality. Home charger really must. Oh yeah, home charger for sure. Thanks, Owen. That's the ZS long range, is it? I didn't think it was a 73-hour battery. That's fairly big. I thought it was a 60 something. 64. Max's Mesa 9 received. Look at that car jumping in. Good man, Carl. I told them they were 5 stars. Don't forget the Vietnamese. Absolutely, Hans van der Plas. It's not all Chinese. VinFast to be rolled out new later on. Oh, I didn't realize that. Thank you very much. Oh, Hans is there. He's working for VinFast. Hans, did I meet you at the Fleet Summit in Dublin? I think I did. I'd love to review them, Hans. Just saying, I'm here. Happy to chat about them when I have them on the channel. Don't forget me. Finton, many Dutch local authorities have a right to charge guarantee with their overnight charger. Yes, I see that. What they can actually, you can, in your local authority, you can tell them I'm living here, I have an EV, and they'll put in a charger if there isn't one there already. There was a presentation at the EV Summit last year. Confidence, not coincidence. Thank you, Ray. Absolutely. ID2 unveil is tomorrow. Yes, I knew there was an ID reveal. I saw something there recently. So that reveal is on tomorrow in Germany, I assume. Any more news on Xpeng? They have had great reviews in Norway. So yeah, I've had the P9, the G9 and the P7 reviews on the channel, just those walk around, Joe. I'm going to go over and driving them soon. All going well in March or April. On the channel, as I said, the G9, both of them are getting really good. A lot of interest. That P7 is very much a Tesla Model 3, Model S, Model 3 probably, competitor in that G9. Like super, a lot of people interested in that SUV. Thumbs up. Winky face. Finally, picking up our Megane E-Tech tomorrow morning. Thank you very much, Captain Redbeards. We had 2 of them at the meetup on Sunday in Galway. We had Enda out from Windsor, Merlin. One of them, Windsor. And he had a Megane. And then we had Jeremy down from Ireland in his Megane. So lots of Meganes at the meetup. Beautiful car. A really good review for me as well on the channel when I was out in Spain a year ago. So yeah, great. And best of luck with it. Thank you very much for the comment. And let me know if you can, what color are you going for? What trim did you go for? Tata for now. Oh, TTFN. Tata for now. Paul Kerber. You think how would he say that? Long range, 100%. Oh, really, is it? But it is well decreased in the winter, but at least 25. Oh, yeah. Cold weather is not a friend of electric vehicles. Owen, do you pre-charge on the home charger? Now that we moved into the public charging network. Tata for now. Thanks, Paul. Thank you for the reviews. You're very welcome. Thank you for the comments. Oh, the E-Up. Matthew's back. I love them, but they're far too costly. Fiat 500e is similarly priced. Yes, I think the E-Up would be a bit bigger though, would it? Fiat 500e is an amazing little car. I'm going to get it again on the channel. So I don't see an issue with them selling, but maybe just smaller numbers, yeah. Because it is that Volkswagen E-Up is a small battery. they're saying 235 kilometer WLTP, so you're probably talking sub 200 for a city run around. A car that we had at the meetup on Sunday was the Mitsubishi i-MiEV, and Michael, the owner, he bought it secondhand about a year ago, and he's getting 100 kilometers out of it. That's all I need. In and out the office, cover me for the week, scooting around here, picking up shopping, bringing the dog to the vet, whatever it is. Perfect. So yeah, 6,000-7,000 euros is what they're retailing at the moment. So if we can get a secondhand one, and that is, I thought that was just AC as well, but no, he said it has CHAdeMO DC fast charging as well. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Oh, snowing. Where are you, Mr. Mawson, in the UK? Don't give me an exact address, but just like a county. I'd like to see more smaller cars. Yes, please. But the problem is just nobody wants to buy them, Brian. As much as some people think practically with their heads, they may not have children, or they may not need all the stuff, or there might be a second car that they want to buy. But yeah, for us, we don't have children, and just myself and the dog, like an ID3 or that similar that size would be perfect for us. We wouldn't need anything bigger. But then you've got friends of mine that I have 2 kids, and it wasn't the case when I was a kid. Now they've got like the really safety conscious baby chairs and booster seats and all the rest of it. And so they take up a lot of space, plus push chairs and all the rest of it in the boot. So yeah, I can see why families struggle to get that smaller stuff. I did a video on my channel a couple of years ago with the Mach-E, and is it good enough for a family? And I fitted in a large baby seat and a booster seat, and I put a pushchair in the boot. Now it was tight. Absolutely, it was tight. But Bradford, very good. Thank you very much. Did you ever make the return journey to your home in Mayo without recharging it? If so, what car? Oh God, a few of them, Joe. So there is a coast to coast playlist on the channel. I should probably put a little tick on the thumbnail saying with a yes or an X with a no, like X factor, to say whether I made it or not. I know that the Volkswagen ID3 with the 57 kilowatt hour battery, I did that, no problem. There's been lots of them that I've done. Oh, sorry. Did I ever make the return journey to your home in Mayo? So a number of them have done the journey without charging. Only one has done both ways, and that was the Mercedes-Benz EQS, but that's just a huge battery with a fairly substantial price. But Joe, yeah, there's a lot of them that will do the 318 kilometers. No problem. Absolutely no problem. But again, it's watching it on the motorway. It's only going at 100 kilometers an hour. Some people aren't happy with that. Some people wanted to go at 120. Some people call me Captain Slow. I know that Eamon and Roland passed me the last day on our way back to Dublin, and I'd stick it on cruise control, 100 kilometers an hour up the motorway, and I'm happy staying in that left-hand lane. I've got the radio on. I'm listening to a couple of podcasts. So yeah, there's lots of them out there, Joe, for sure. I only really use the home charger. I really only use the home charger. I do get a preheat battery function that comes on at 6 a.m. In the summer, I did get it over 440 kilometers. Nice. That's all you need. That is all you need. But great to hear that it's going well for you. And the home charger is a must. I was saying, forget my manners earlier. Another question. Do you have any knowledge of the lead time of any brands? Thanks again. Love the reviews. You're very welcome, Joe. Lead times. It's per brand. Unfortunately, I've heard stories that Skoda Enyaqs are 8 to 12 months, ID4s are 6 months. So you couldn't keep the 25 brands. I couldn't keep them all in my head. And different like MG, it's MG4 and MG5 now. ZS, it's been pushed out, etc., etc. So I wouldn't know exactly. You'd have to ring up your local dealership and ask them. But Joe, or Jim, apologies, send me a message if you'd like to know a certain brand. It's very hard to nail people down with supply chain issues, because we were thinking about putting this on the Nevo website, which again is my day job, because you can see all the brands there, and people are like, could you ever do a stock thing, or what's available, what's not available? And the Fiat 500e 40 kilowatt hour, good option with 24 batteries, a bit small. Yeah, that is a bit small, Finton. That's the cheapest EV in Ireland at 25,000 euros with the 24 kilowatt hour battery. But the 40 kilowatt hour, if the size is, if you don't need the back seats, and the boot is pretty tiny as well. But yeah, Peugeot E208, great small car, improved range, yes. So I'm looking forward to test driving the new improved battery across that Stellantis range, Ray. I presume that's the same battery that's in the Jeep Avenger, that is also in the EC4X. Or did the EC4X get that new battery? But yeah, that's Stellantis. They're putting a slightly better battery into it. Yeah, Captain Slow. Yeah, that's what they call me. Exactly. Myself and James May from Top Gear. But we get there. If Tesla reduced the Model 3, whew, Adrian, my goodness, where did this come out of? If Tesla reduced the Model 3 price to 39,999, it would get the full EV grant and sell for 37,500. Would be unbeatable at that price point. Yeah, the price dropped down that they came down to less than 45,000 after the grant here in Ireland, and I'm thinking the same in the UK. It was a fairly whipping, a fairly chunky, and they dropped the price of the Y and the S in the US there recently as well by 15 or 20,000 dollars. So yeah, for sure. We've talked a lot about the Chinese EVs, the public EVs, and I see a lot more charge point operators coming into the marketplace. So we have Apple Green, since we talked in December, have 5 or 6 sites now around Ireland. All seem to be chunky DC fast chargers. Price is 75 cents a kilowatt hour, but it is, per kilowatt, but it is there. They're putting in multiple units with multiple heads on them, CCS or CHAdeMO or a bit of both. And so when you're on the motorway, you'll be happily pay for it because you've nowhere else to go. I've heard a rumor that ESB are going to start charging from the 1st of April in Northern Ireland. Let me know if any of my Northern Ireland viewers are tuned in, if that is correct. I haven't heard it officially. So we've got Apple Green, we've got Weave coming into the marketplace, we've got EasyGo rolling out their chargers across. I know that they've had a lot of them put into towns across Mayo and other counties where they've partnered with the local authority. ESB are obviously rolling that out as well. I had a good conversation with one of my viewers on the road last week when I was driving, and he was saying that, Derek, the price of public charging is disgraceful, and I appreciate the price of hardware and getting that price back, but I've seen where Fastned have dropped their prices in a couple of European countries where they had got a better wholesale price and they passed that saving back on to the. So we're going to start to see a bit more playing of the market. At the moment, it's a bit of everybody that's doing DC is up in that high 60s, 70 cent a kilowatt. But when somebody comes in that wants to disrupt the marketplace and offer a cheaper price, your market will pay what the market will pay, for sure. Struggling at the moment to get over 310 kilometers from my EV6 on long runs with the AC on. D Strongbow, how fast are you going? I know that Owen likes to call me Captain Slow, but are you keeping the speed down to 100 kilometers an hour? Or are you doing more than that? 310 is not bad. Like, I'm not sure what your runs are, but for sure. I drive an EV6 and have the return journey to Castlebar without recharging a few times from Lucan. Man, Joe. So you're doing Castlebar, Lucan, Castlebar, or vice versa, Lucan, Castlebar, Lucan. Very good. What's the distance between Lucan and Castlebar? I'd say it's probably, you're probably what, 160? No, 180 kilometers? No heat or no AC. The other YouTubers will be laughing about us, Joe, that we're wearing our jackets and our woolly hats inside in the car. What do you think of the new Nissan Ariya? I loved it. I had it on the channel the day it launched in Ireland at Mondello Park, which is a racetrack here, Mr. Mawson. And then I also had it for a week in white. I think it's a great car. It has its flaws. The screen isn't very crisp. Other things about it aren't great. It should have a 22 Chameleon charger like the Renault Zoe if they're working on that Alliance platform. It's not very efficient, but I think it's a beautiful looking car. We had a copper one at the meetup on Sunday, actually. Atsuka copper, if I remember correctly. So I really liked it. Really liked it. Is there or will there be one app or card to cover all the charging networks? Great question by Crash611. So interoperability is the name of the game here. And again, that new partner that we have at work with Monta, that's what it's all about. And so really you should be able to download any of the apps, be that Plug Surfing or be that whoever, and you can operate on any of the other networks. And you decide what price you want to charge on that network, and then you get your slice. And if somebody thinks it's too expensive, they won't go with you. They might go with somebody else. But I was in Antwerp at that BMW event, and I was chatting away to Ricky in, where did I get up my thing? I don't know what it's showing now, but in Monta. And I said, I just went onto the Monta app for whatever reason. And I looked when I was in Antwerp how many charge points were around me. Media. And it might not show now. Where those mad looking dot things are, that was Antwerp, and because there's a green screen on it and that thing is green. The They were everywhere. Now, everywhere. And this was Antwerp and Belgium. Let me see if I can share. But anyway, beside the point. So yeah, Bike Crash 611, the government and the Zero Emission Vehicle Ireland, ZEVI, they're going to be pushing this interoperability for sure. 210. So you're getting 420. God, we have to talk to D Strongbow then and say what he's up to. Yep. Yes, Monta are the key with all covering all the networks. Yeah, and there are others as well. Obviously, Monta, myself and Monta are happy together, but there will be other operators. The likes on the UK, you've got Bonnet. I don't think they're in the Ireland yet. And then you've got the likes of Octopus do one called Electric Juice, I think it's called. So yeah, those multi-network providers, like that's what EV drivers want. And interoperability is definitely something that we need to think about on the public charging network. Tap to pay is coming, and it again is part of the government plan. Slow charging, fast charging, overnight charging for people that don't have it. There's lots of opportunities out there. Apartment complex charging, and you don't need a charger per apartment. A communal space, 1 or 2 chargers, and then you can set up a queuing system or surge pricing at the weekend. So you're encouraging people to price it or to charge at other points of the day. So yeah, for sure. It is that interoperability, the ease of use. We talked in the past about making sure that it's people have the right to charge. And we talk about this in the Irish EV Owners Association, that whether you're whatever ability or disability you have or may have not, if you're a wheelchair user, for example, that you can get out, go around your vehicle and operate and plug in the charger. Like, we all take it for granted, but I guarantee you, if we spent a day in a wheelchair trying to do this thing, there's a lot of EV chargers out there that are just not accessible, unfortunately. And we weren't thinking about it, or the charge point operators weren't either thinking about it or just forgot about it. Codzos. Hi there, Derek. Tesla and BYD are best-selling EV brands globally. What do we think will become the leading brand in Ireland? Great question. Volkswagen are the best-selling brand last year. Hyundai have that total now. I know in Europe you're talking the likes of Fiat 500e, Peugeot 208, as Ray well knows. Volkswagen are strong in Ireland in the Volkswagen sense, with ID3, ID4, ID5, potentially ID2 now, tomorrow, and the refreshed ID3. So I think Volkswagen are going to be hard to beat. Hyundai are going to have now the new Kona at some stage, maybe not this year, but start of next year. They're going to have ID5, which is a very popular car, and Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 6. So yeah, there's a lot of good brands out there. Tesla are going to be hard to beat as well with that price drop and the number of cards that are coming into the marketplace. But yeah, interesting to see it and to hear it, and to see it that the brands BYD, with those prices in the UK with government grants currently in Ireland, we're probably looking at something similar. So you're talking probably mid-30s for entry level to mid-40s for upper level trim, but I believe they all get power tail lift. I think the BYDs all get sunroofs as well, and then it's size of screen. I think the battery might be the same across all of them, from what I can recall from the videos that I've watched. So yeah. Pat Kearney. Hi, Derek. Do you think it's urban myth that our electric vehicles more prone to punctures? Urban myth, for sure. But I might get an actual answer from the guys over at Best Drive by Continental, the tire place. I'm doing a piece of work with them, and something I haven't asked about punctures, but definitely speccing the right tire to your car, making sure that they know it's an EV. If you're getting it rather than buying them online and just looking at price, you need to make sure you're matching the right tire to the fact that it's an EV and rolling resistance and noise, etc. But I haven't heard that before, Pat. But if anybody else is watching this, and we've got a lot of people watching right now, have you ever heard that EVs are more prone to punctures? I have not heard that in my time. I'm looking forward to the summer, going to on a road trip this summer. My Maxus Unique 6. Hopefully Carl is still watching. Trondheim to Denmark. Oh, nice. Is that the bridge that I did in Copenhagen? What's it called again? I did it with the ID Buzz. Let me know. A dealer in Finglas is taking 10 orders per day. That'd be Dean, I'd say, in Linders for the MG4, yeah. Very popular, very popular. Just getting cars now is the thing. Have you seen the canoe-like bus thing? Yeah, I have. And when I was at Dallas, they have an office in Dallas. I was in Dallas last month with work. I'd reached out to them because I said I'm in the area. They weren't that far away. They were in Dallas, Fort Worth. And I said, is there any chance of me looking at some of the cars and doing a video? But they had brought all their cars up to the New York Motor Show that same weekend. So I could not get a chance to look at the canoe. But yeah, canoe was interesting, really nice looking. And they do a utility kind of a pickup version as well. So I have, yeah, for sure. And Adrian has heard that they're more prone to punctures, I assume. They generally have a higher tire pressure due to the increased weight, but would that do it perhaps? Oh, interesting. My conversation with Paddy Common is that the most common call for the AA in Ireland is punctures. So maybe more likely that from their work, and that's what I've been told. For EVs, is it, Matthew? Just let me know. Hi, Carol. I'm jealous. Enjoyed that trip in your Maxus. A Unique 6. Orsund Bridge. Yes, nice. I knew that. Coming into the last 10 minutes, folks. Thank you so much, everybody that has jumped in tonight. We're not finished yet, but I want to just first of all thank you. Thank you for the support, the communications, the comments for EVs. Oh, interesting. I'd never heard that before. You think I would have heard it, but obviously I didn't. I have a piece of work at the moment ongoing that EVs, are they more prone to accidents? Doing a bit of research on that. I haven't heard that they are. I have talked to a couple of insurance providers, and what I've heard is that they're less prone to accidents because of the driver assist systems. But when they are in an accident, it's slightly more expensive because of batteries, etc., etc. The components are a bit more expensive. So, and EV tires are not high pressure. They're usually a stiffer sidewall, but similar tire pressure to non-EV cars. Thank you, Matthew. AA callouts are sometimes for multiple punctures due to the torque on EVs putting more pressure on the tires. Interesting. Thank you, Ray. Yeah, we'll have to get somebody from the AA on the next time. Or I can go onto their podcast or their channel and we can chat about it over there. What about that? What's coming up this week? I'm driving the MG5 first half of the week, and then the Or Funky Cat. Next week is BMW i7. I've got the Yamaha Neo moped / scooter to review as well coming down the line. I've got a couple of e-bikes. I have that ID7. I have, what else is coming up? Ioniq 6 is coming as well. So yeah, lots of stuff, which is great. Watching all of this with my kids, they're enjoying it. God love them. Thank you very much, Wasim. And that's really interesting that. Give me send me a message. Let me know when you're allowed to tell me, obviously. And for my good friend who is a tire fitter wholesaler. Yes, we've chatted about him in the past, Matthew. Adrian, battery chemistry, LFP is becoming very popular. Yes, great question. And this is kind of leaning into the Chinese EVs. So some of the Chinese brands are saying, do you know what? We don't need a high performance battery. Not that LFP isn't high performance, but it is much more stable. It obviously doesn't have any rare earth minerals and has no cobalt, or very little cobalt. And it can take a charge up to 100%. And Brian, I think your Tesla Model 3 is LFP, if I'm not mistaken. So it can be charged full all the time. It has maybe not as many cycles, but still lots of cycles, charging cycles. And yeah, it's very good in the colder temperatures as well. So, but the downside to it is, I think it's performance. But again, the EVs are fairly they're fairly fine, torque wise, and putting the power down. I don't think they have any problem with that. So yeah, we've talked a lot tonight about Chinese EVs coming to UK and Ireland, or coming to the market in general, and you may or may not be aware that there are, I think, something like 200 car brands in China. We've talked about VinFast as well in Vietnam. Do I know anything about Nezha from China? Never heard of it before. First time hearing it, Joe. I shall be reviewing it later. Owen MacD. I saw the Blackwater Motors ID Buzz Cargo today, looking great machine. Have you heard many positive negatives about commercial customers running EV vans? No diesel VAT relief making a difference. That's number one. Number two, bigger customers, the likes of the logistics companies, can take that hit on the initial purchase price because they can spread it out that over that total cost of ownership. Range is a question that they need to ask about when it's an electric van, because there's only so much of a battery they can put into it, because of the license that you have and the weight of the vehicle plus its load. So normal car licenses in here in Ireland, and I think in the UK, we can be a driver of something up to 3.5 tons, including everything inside it. Whereas now with EVs, they've extended that up to 4.25 tons, which is a fairly large, substantial piece of stuff on wheels, be that the vehicle itself and the load in the back of it. And so putting in a bigger battery for more range means that you've got less capacity for carrying stuff. So that's what I hear, range. So our family business at home, is one of them, is a furniture business, and we deliver flooring and beds and couches and stuff like that. And the catchment area for my family business is just, it's too big for an electric van. You might get to where you need to go, but then you might not be able to get back and there's no chargers, there's no public chargers as accessible down there. And the ID Buzz Cargo is a beautiful car. Beautiful EV. I had it in Copenhagen, and I am looking forward to getting it again. So once there's, we're going to get that issue sorted out with Volkswagen and the pricing of it. They're having conversations at the moment with the Irish government on a weight to cargo space ratio. Quick thoughts on the range WLTP. What's it out, and why it's out with real driving when you purchase the car. So Pat, I have a video on my channel where I did a collaboration with Dr. Ewan McTurk, the battery chemistry engineer, battery. He knows a lot about batteries, and we do think if you go onto my channel and type in WLTP, why don't we just do it live here and I'll show you. WLTP. So you don't go to the top search, you go to the second search down. And what is WLTP? Interview with Dr. Ewan McTurk of Plug Life Television. And so we spend 20 minutes chatting about how they rate it worldwide, lightweight, test procedure, holomalgamized, so a H in there somewhere, but they said WLTP. So yeah, have a look at that video if you're interested in understanding where they get it from, hot temperature it needs to be at, the different cycles that they run through. But it's a good video, if I do say so myself. The government need to ensure that every town and village in Ireland should have a minimum of 4 DC chargers. From my experience, usually one is always out of order. Yes, true, I agree. We were down in Galway last week with 20 EVs and supposedly 2 chargers, and one was out of order. So we were left, and it wasn't the slow one that we were left with, or it wasn't the fast one we were left with, it was the slow one. So yeah, they definitely need to increase the number, but it's about cost. It is about the capacity of the grid in the local area. It's about payback. As much as we all want them, these are not cheap to put in. And so I have to be realistic about it as well. But yeah, and definitely just, when all these Chinese EVs come into the country, do we have the skills and facilities for maintenance? Great question, Wasim. I know that a couple of the universities and third level education institutes, so I know that Atlantic University in ATU, Atlantic Technological University, I think that's what it's called, the new GMIT, Letterkenny Institute of Technology, all amalgamation along the West Coast. I know on Letterkenny campus, I believe they've got an EV technician course, and I know down the southeast in Waterford or Wexford, they have another technician course down there as well. I think it's potentially, I won't say it's easier to get into, Wasim, but it's an electric motor, battery, and the gubbins in between, I think, are a lot less complicated. Sorry, let me rephrase that. There's not as many parts in an electric vehicle than it is in an internal combustion engine. So I think that potentially that we should have more people going into it. Hard to get electricians, never mind electrical engineers or EV service technicians. You need to look up Jeff buys cars in his EV, not a fan. Well, I will. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Pat Kearney, I have a 38 kilometer mile OHM heavy metal X, no punctures. Oh, very good. Yeah, he can be very unlucky. I know my brother, and he's not an EV driver yet, but he had like 3 punctures in a row. It's just, I don't know. on the road that you drive. It's just, you definitely can hit an unlucky patch. All right, folks, an hour of me constantly talking. Thank you so much for everybody that stuck with me. If you did enjoy the show, make sure you jump into the comments afterwards, or like the video now, or share it with somebody that wasn't able to catch it. I really appreciate it. On whatever platform you're watching us on, Facebook, we've got a couple of Facebook likes, or on YouTube, or on LinkedIn. Thank you to my dedicated followers that are always there leaving comments. You know who you are, and as always, I try to get back to you. Hopefully you've enjoyed the Power Hour, and I will try to do these more often. I think people get a lot from them, and so I will try and do it once a month rather than once a quarter. My name has been Derek Riley, and remember, if you think an EV is for you, leave it to me and I'll review. Thank you very much for watching.